What's up, guys? Just got to Big Bear, California, Big Bear Lake. If you're not familiar with this is about an hour and a half, 2 hours from LA, Orange County. It's a really popular destination both in the winter and the summer. We're doing a little weekend trip up here. I want to show you guys around where we stay, what we do, the restaurants we go to. There's so much to do, a ton to see. So let's dive in. You guys are going to find this place super cool. So if you've never been to any of the SoCal mountain destinations, the two that are probably the most popular are Big Bear and Lake Arrowhead. And while a lot of people get them confused, and they are relatively close together, there are some key differences. Big Bear is a much larger town, it has more to do, and it's home to all of the ski resorts that are really popular in the winter. So this video is going to focus on Big Bear, but I may also do a follow-up video about Lake Arrowhead because it's also a really cool town. So you've probably heard that in California, it's one of the only places in the United States where you can actually hit the beach and then go skiing in the same day with pretty much an only hour and a half drive. I mean, it's incredible. I've personally experienced it, and it's one of the coolest things I've done. And when you hear Big Bear, people usually associate Big Bear with snow. And obviously, you know, the winter is the biggest draw here with a few different ski resorts in town to choose from, snow tubing, sledding, you know, a bunch of other awesome activities. But Big Bear offers year-round fun. Summer is an extremely popular time to come here, and there's a ton to do in the summer as well. So don't rule the summer out. So let's talk about what you can do here in the summer, where to stay, what to see, activities to consider, and hopefully by the end of the video, you'll have a pretty good idea of what you're going to experience. So getting to Big Bear is relatively easy. It's about an hour, hour and a half drive from Orange County in LA by car. And if you can afford it, there's also a small airport for private flights. Good for you because the roads can definitely be pretty windy up here, going up and down the mountain. So if you get car sick, make sure to take rest stops along the way at one of the many scenic overlooks that you can pull off and catch some fresh air. It's a great way to break up the drive, you know, get that mountain fresh air, take in the views, and not deal with the winding roads as much because it breaks it up. Also, keep in mind too, in the winter, the snow makes the travel up here even more arduous, so definitely factor that in when you're making a road trip. Now, once you get up, Big Bear Lake is a naturally occurring mountain lake that has been inhabited for thousands of years. So there's a lot of history up here with this town. But that being said, the modern Big Bear is a nice mix of luxury homes, small cabins, ski resorts, nice hotels, okay hotels, motels, and everything in between. I mean, it's a great destination for families and groups, and there are fun things to do at every price point. Also, keep in mind, it is a high altitude destination at almost 7,000 feet. So if you get altitude sickness like I do, then you may want to consider Lake Arrowhead, which is about 1,500 feet lower. And again, 7,000 feet is just the lake level. If you're staying above the lake on the hills or in the mountains, or if you're skiing at one of the ski resorts, you're going to be even higher up. I mean, the top of the Big Bear ski resort is almost 9,000 feet. That's really high up. But if you're looking at an aerial, the main town sits on the south side of the lake near the ski resorts. And while there are places to stay and things to do on all sides of the lake, the main town that I recommend focusing on is roughly in the center of the south side. So starting with places to stay, you can find everything from small A-frame Airbnbs, log cabins, small mom and pop motels, themed motels, all the way up to national brands. So that being said though, there aren't really truly any luxurious hotels, meaning you won't find like a Ritz or a Four Seasons or similar hotel. So it's not like Aspen, you know what I mean? But if you want more of a typical brand name hotel, then there are really only two that I would consider. And possibly a third that's opening soon that I'll cover further in this video. In years past, if we weren't staying at a cool Airbnb or cabin, we would almost always stay at the Holiday Inn. And I'll touch on this in a little bit. You're going to see why. But for this trip, we actually opted to stay at Home 2 Suites, which is a brand new hotel in Big Bear. And I say brand new, I mean, it opened up about a year ago. So it's essentially brand new and it's much nicer than the Holiday Inn. It's much more modern. It has, you know, upscale features, and we wanted to see what it was all about. So here's a quick tour of the room. So the room is nice. I mean, it's large. It's technically an extended stay room, so it's definitely larger than your typical hotel room. And like I said, it just opened, you know, roughly a year ago. So it's nice. It's modern. The technology was pretty good overall. And there's an odd amount of storage. I don't know if this is for like in the winter, you have places for your ski boots and other stuff, but there's a bunch of just open shelves and random countertops and cabinets. I mean, it seemed like an excessive amount of storage. Then there was also this weird, almost like medical curtain looking thing, which we weren't sure why that was in there. But then we realized that it actually serves a purpose because the couch folds out, which is nice. That wasn't mentioned online. We didn't know about that. But it's actually a pretty cool idea because it basically allows you to turn the couch area into a separate, somewhat private area with that curtain. And it's next to the kitchen. The kitchen is decent. I mean, for a hotel room especially, you know, it has what you would need for your basic hotel layout. And then the bathroom itself is also pretty nice. Glass doors, They were a little hard to use. I mean, they probably need to be greased a little bit, but overall, pretty nice feature compared to some of the other hotels in the area to just have like shower curtains, for example. Modern shower with good amount of soap. And they also have the knob on the left, which is nice when you're walking in. And then the rest of the bathroom, pretty nice. I mean, it's small, but gets the job done for what you'd need in this type of, setting or this type of hotel. So overall, it's not bad. It's a newer hotel in the area. It's definitely nicer than the Holiday Inn. But there are some weird things about the hotel that I'm going to touch on real quick. All right, so as mentioned, we are at the Home 2 Suites, or the Hampton Inn. It's a combined hotel here in Big Bear that opened just about a year ago. And as you guys just saw, I mean, the rooms are pretty nice overall. It's got some weird characteristics, but overall, it's a pretty nice room. The property itself is pretty well maintained overall, and the staff is super friendly. That being said, I don't think this would be my top recommendation because you're a little off the beaten path. So if you're looking at a map, the Holiday Inn, which I'm going to talk about in a moment, sits really close to town. And then the new hotel, which I'm going to touch on a little bit more in depth, I know you guys saw a sneak preview, is literally like main and main of where you'd want to be. And I think when that opens, that's going to be the new go-to spot. But for now, we wanted to check this room out. We got a double room because we wanted to show you guys, a lot of people travel with groups and families here, so we wanted to show you kind of what that room looks like. And I'm going to give you more of a tour here in a moment. But the single biggest drawback, outside of being kind of away from town, is they charge for parking. There's no other hotel, to my knowledge, that charges for parking in all of Big Bear. And when I was checking in, I even asked the lady at the front desk, I was like, okay, first of all, I didn't know that you guys charge for parking. It didn't say anywhere online. And she said that they get that a lot. And then she told me, it's $29 a night, so about $30 a night to park here. The parking lot is empty. I mean, that might be why people aren't staying here as much. I don't know if it's just, this weekend wasn't as busy as others, or if people are choosing not to stay here because the parking's so ridiculous. But I mean, $30 is a lot of money for a small mountain town. So that is a huge drawback of this property. The other weird thing was, so we got into Big Bear around 10 a.m. And I know that that's early to check in. But my credit card got charged around 11 a.m. We stopped, we grabbed lunch, we explored the town a little bit. And so once my credit card was charged, I was like, oh, the room's probably ready, let me call them. So I called the hotel, asked if we could check in early, and they said that it would be $100 for every hour that it was early, which is just ridiculous. I asked if the room was ready, they said yes. I asked if multiple of my room type was ready, so just to make sure that it wasn't a busy weekend or anything. And she told me there would be $100 extra for every hour that we wanted to check in early, which is just ridiculous, on top of the parking charge. And then if you show up 30 minutes early, it's $50. I mean, that is absolutely insane for this type of hotel. So I think with those two things in mind, despite the staff being friendly and despite some of the amenities the hotel has, I think I would choose the other two a little bit closer to town over this one. But I do want you guys to be aware that this is a good, solid third option if you're trying to avoid Airbnbs and some of the smaller motels and hotels that are in the Big Bear area. But anyway, let me give you more of a tour of this place just so you can understand what I'm talking about, and I'm gonna dive into the other two hotels as well. So with all that being said, I mean, here's a view of the rest of the hotel. It's definitely nice. It's much nicer than the Holiday Inn, and it has a nice modern feel to it, which I think was missing from Big Bear. And the lobby, it's large, it's open, there's lots of natural light, and overall the hotel seemed really clean. There's a large outdoor courtyard area, which is pretty cool, and I saw people using it. But I think at the end of the day, I would have actually preferred an outdoor pool in this area like the other hotels offer, especially for the hot weather that we experienced while we were there. I mean, it was in the mid 80s. There is an indoor pool, which I'm sure is really nice in the wintertime, but Big Bear gets really hot in the summer. So an outdoor pool would have been pretty nice to have. So again, this place, it's a solid option, compared to other options in the area. And it's one of the newer hotels to consider. And, an added plus was that the hotel staff was super friendly and they were great. But that said, I think in the future, we would likely probably stay at the new hotel that opens in a month, which I'm going to touch on in a moment. But first, let me tell you about the Holiday Inn because I mentioned that earlier. So when looking at the map again, the Home 2 Suites, which we just talked about, sits here. And the Holiday Inn sits here, which is a little bit closer to the main town area right here. The new hotel that I want to touch on in a moment sits here. So more on that in a moment. It's pretty much the bullseye. So the Holiday Inn is technically called the Lodge at Big Bear Lake. And the rooms are decent, but they're dated. It definitely feels like a Holiday Inn, if you know what I mean. And, as mentioned, it has one of the best locations in the main town area. You're literally walking distance to all of the main shops, restaurants, and entertainment. And you're also really close to the ski resorts. You could probably walk to Snow Summit if you wanted to, but in the winter, it's a little bit tougher. The Holiday Inn also has an outdoor pool, but it's in the parking lot, so it's not that glamorous. Take it for what it is. The rooms are certainly nicer at the Home 2 Suites, which was the first hotel that I touched on where we stayed this time around. But if you're looking for a convenient location, outdoor pool, nice enough rooms, decent nightly rates, and free parking, then this is definitely a great hotel to choose. And the location itself is much better than the Home 2 Suites. But now let me talk about where I think we're actually going to be staying in the future. So Hotel Marina Riviera opens up really soon, and we stopped by to have lunch and check out the soft opening. I must say, I'm incredibly impressed with what I saw. It has a super cool mid-century feel to it, and it's literally on the water. I believe it's the only hotel in all of Big Bear, large hotel, that actually sits on the water with its own beach. It has a lounge area, an outdoor pool area, and it has other really cool just amenities that we saw while walking around. The views are stunning. It really does have kind of that true luxury feel to it, which I think is something that Big Bear has really been missing outside of the high-end Airbnbs. Now, again, I didn't get to see the rooms because it wasn't open yet, but here are some photos from the website and kind of what the rooms are going to look like. They're pretty nice overall. It might be, a little bit dark, but it definitely, I think, is going for that mid-century look and feel. And from what I can tell, the parking's free. It looks like every room has a balcony, and it just seems like a really nice resort, especially being the fact that it's beachfront with amazing views of the water. They also apparently have on-site saunas, free bikes to explore the town, and an on-site restaurant, which is actually where we went for lunch on the first day. So definitely excited to check out this hotel in the future. It looks like it's coming along great. So speaking of food, let's talk about food. Depending on your preferences, you will either hate or love the food in Big Bear. If you tend to eat healthier, or you're a little bit of a coffee snob, or you look for kind of those trendier restaurant establishments, then there aren't going to be many options for you to consider up here. But if you like more of kind of the heavier mountain town American food, American diner food, just the heavier food that you would probably see in most mountain towns, then you're going to find a lot of options. My wife and I tend to stick to the healthier options, and this time around we had lunch at De La Nona, which, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but anyway, it's part of the new Hotel Marina Riviera that I was just telling you guys about. I gotta say, this is some of the best pizza I've ever had. It's super unique. It's delicious, it's fluffy in the middle, but then crispy on the outer edges. It's kind of hard to describe. It's unlike any other pizza I've ever had, but it was really, really good. And while you may argue that it isn't that healthy, you can tell that they use premium ingredients and it's a high quality pizza, so I didn't feel bad eating it, and the views from lunch were absolutely incredible. So we really just liked this meal all around. So I'd highly recommend checking out De La Nona. It literally just opened. It preceded the hotel opening, and they also have a to-go window, which is super cool. So another favorite in Big Bear that we've been going to for years, although I would say it's kind of slightly gone downhill, but I would still recommend it, is Stella Luna. Stella Luna is a pretty robust menu of healthy items, but it also has filling items like burgers. But again, the quality has kind of slipped a little bit in our opinion. We used to love this place. We've been going over the last few years, but on this trip in particular, it seemed a little understaffed, and the food wasn't quite as good as in years past. So I don't know if it was just a one-time thing. Maybe they had the wrong cook working. But overall, I would still recommend it. There's also, if you're looking for more fancier upscale, then Peppercorn is a good bet. It's your typical white tablecloth establishment with good food, good ambiance, and it's right on the main street. But if neither of those really sound good to you, you can easily find a bunch of options just by walking Pine Knot Avenue or Village Drive. This is the main area of Big Bear. It's kind of the Big Bear Village area. This is where you're going to find all the shops, restaurants, bars, entertainment. Holiday Inn is at the end of Village Drive, and the new Hotel Marina Riviera that I talked about is at the end of Pine Knot Avenue. So you can see why we like those best, because they're both within walking distance to this main area. And the town is really cool. There's a great mix of shops, and if you have a sweet tooth, there are dessert places as well as a frozen yogurt place. There's even a cool candy store that's really popular with kids. So definitely walk around, check it all out. Given the altitude, I rarely drink up here. I have a heart condition, so it's not smart for me to consume alcohol at this high of altitude when my heart is already working in overdrive. I'm not going to touch on bars that much just because we haven't experienced a ton up here. But that being said, if you walk around this area, you're going to find a lot of bars, pubs, beer gardens, etc. There's a lot of watering holes in this village area of Big Bear, so I'm sure you'll find something entertaining, and there's also late night options as well. We usually spend a lot of time walking around this area before and after dinner or before and after lunch, and a lot of the shops in this area are owned by locals who are super friendly and very helpful, willing to give you ideas of what to do around Big Bear if you're looking for other recommendations outside of this video. So definitely recommend walking around this area, talking to the locals, getting to know everything. It's super cool, and there's a lot to do. As for other things to do, there are a lot. Obviously in the winter you have a ton of activities, but in the summer you have a ton too. If you're looking to kayak or rent boats, or even just swim in the lake, one of the best places to do all that is Boulder Bay, which is a short drive from the village area. It's probably one of the best swimming beaches in all of Big Bear, and I would definitely recommend getting there early because the parking lot can fill up on hot summer days. It's a pretty small parking lot. You may get lucky and find some parking on the back roads if the lot is full, but definitely do not park in the condos next door. We saw people getting towed, so don't park there even though there's spaces open. Another really fun day activity is visiting Magic Mountain, which is between the main village area and Boulder Bay. So you can kind of hit Boulder Bay and Magic Mountain all in the same time. Both are a really short drive from the main village area. Magic Mountain is home to water slides, mini golf, an arcade. It's also home to alpine slides, which are an absolute blast. This was our first time going on these alpine slides, and it was way more fun than either of us expected. You can basically control the speed of your sled on your own. It has brakes, so you can go as fast or as slow as you'd like down these things, and you can ride single or double seaters. You basically take a chairlift or a lift hill up to the top, and then gravity takes you back down. It's so much fun. The sleds are also equipped with a camera, so you can pay for your footage at the end of the ride. That's what you're seeing now. It's about $15 for all of the video and photos sent to you via email. So not terrible. And then there's also hiking, mountain biking, and running are also really popular. And if you're a big hiker or biker, then you've probably already mapped out all the places you want to go. There are some more advanced trails in the area, so I'm sure you've already looked into this. So I'm going to save this section of the video for people who are just looking for more chill options. Just about the entire area around the lake is somewhat flat. So there are a ton of good walking trails, flat trails, and foot trails on the north side, the south side, and the east side. There's a small walking area at Boulder Bay. There's a really cool elevated walkway at Stanfield Marsh and Wildlife Park on the eastern side, which is near the airport. Parking here is free. There was a good amount of available spaces when we were there. And the path, it's pretty cool. It takes you over the water. It's much longer than you expect. So it's a pretty good walk if you want it to be, or you can just turn around and make it a quick walk and go back to the car. But if you end up taking the whole thing, it takes you over the lake. Parts of it go through forested areas. It's super cool and scenic. And we did it towards the end of the day, not at sunset, but just later in the day. And it was really nice. So again, if you're looking for something more flat that isn't a challenging hike, then this or stuff along the north side of the lake will be a great option for you guys. As for the lake itself, kayaking is very popular. Jet ski rentals are a lot of fun, but the most popular are probably the fishing boat and pontoon boat rentals. The lake really comes alive in the summer. I mean, there's so much activity and there's a lot of ways to get out and enjoy the water. There are various boat rental companies on all sides of the lake, but mostly on the north and south sides. If you just put it into Google Maps, you'll see a ton of them pop up. I don't really have a company I'd recommend. I would just look at the various rates online and try to find the best deal that you can, because they all offer basically the same fleet and they're all somewhat interchangeable. It's just whichever one's offering the best deals when you happen to be there. All right, guys, well, that is Big Bear in a nutshell. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing the town and all it has to offer. Again, there's so much to do in the summer and there's so much to do in the winter. They really, truly have 4 seasons, and it's so close to Orange County and LA. So definitely get up here and check it out if you've never been. But that's it for today's video. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.